Hello, good evening and welcome to Snooker Extra extended highlights of the first round match between China's Liang Wenbo and Scotland's John Higgins. Higgins, of course, a winner here at the Masters in 2006, but Wenbo making his debut, having had that fantastic yet shock run to the UK Championship final in York in December. Your commentary team, John Parrott and Stephen Hendry.
Welcome to the penultimate last 16 match of this year's Masters. And if Liang Wenbo is going to progress today, he's got to do something he hasn't managed to do before, and that's beat John Higgins in a competitive match. 7 matches played, the Scot leads 7-0. So what can he do, Stephen?
Well, continue the form that he showed at the UK Championship would be a start. So delighted to be here at the Masters. Liang Wenbo. Couldn't pick a much tougher first round opponent though. I think he definitely looks more comfortable as the underdog, John, Liang Wenbo.
Yeah, maybe the case, Stephen. You get a few players on the circuit who are like that and don't like the heat on them, as it were. His form certainly came from nowhere, really. He'd been something of a journeyman on the circuit for the last couple of years, but that performance at the UK was pretty special. And of course those ranking points that he earned got him here in the Masters. A very capable scorer.
Yeah, talking what he needs to do to win today, Liang, I think in one of his matches in the UK started with 3 centuries in the first 3 frames. That's the sort of thing he's got to do to beat John Higgins. Score very heavily when he does get the opportunity.
Yes, they won't go in if they hit the near jaw on these tables. It's pretty close. A chance for Liang in the centre pocket. Good settler if you knock this one in.
Yeah, nice pot. A little bit slack, you'd have to say, from someone like John Higgins to leave the cue ball in the middle of the table, as it were. So, not something you associate with John Higgins, shots like that. So can Liang put a marker down in this first frame? Needs that cue ball to stop. The body language says he's on the red to the left corner.
6.
Yes, I bet his heart skipped a beat there. That cue ball, one more quarter 10, and he was on nothing.
Seven.
Tricky little shot here with the rest. You've got to, if he's playing to hold for the black into the left corner, you've got to strike it positive enough to get the action on the cue ball. Sometimes you can decelerate it and miss it to the right hand side as we look at it. Well, you miss it to the left hand side. So it was a tricky shot, that wasn't a gimme.
14.
Yes, it was one that needed respect. They look easy on your screen, but you hit those jaws on these championship tables, and it's noticeable there for me. That looked a little bit tougher than it did early in the tournament. They were dropping in a little bit with a new cloth. Tables were playing a little bit harder now. That's what happens. They're nice and shiny. when the cloths go on. You can see this, it just catches the jaw a little bit too far out. But they slide in, don't they, the first couple of days, Stephen?
Into the pack here from this black for John Higgins. He hit that perfect.
That was a lovely shot, wasn't it? Played with stun.
8.
Nice and firm, kept hold of the cue ball, it didn't run away. Beautiful shot. It's been a remarkable turnaround for John Higgins. I'll be honest with you, I saw him play last year in one of the matches at the UK and he looked like he was bereft of any confidence, not like he was half the player he was, and to turn it round and win 3 tournaments in a year, 2 in this season, is remarkable at his age.
14.
Are you surprised by the way he's come back, Stephen?
Very much so. I thought a couple of years ago that John Higgins was coming to perhaps a crossroads in his career. All these new tournaments where they spend very little time at home, and perhaps he looked like he wasn't enjoying it as much, but this season, very
15.
impressive.
Yes, I think one of the in the tournaments and one of the matches that he played in that really opened my eye was we played Mark Selby in the semi-final in the international, beat him 9 frames to 4. And anyone who beats Mark Selby by that scoreline is playing good snooker. And he's the only one to give Neil Robertson a close run in the UK Championship. Took him to the final frame in a brilliant match. So there's certainly nothing wrong with the way he's playing. And it's good to see him back.
That was a well-controlled shot. He didn't quite have a natural angle in the blue to run off 2 cushions for these reds, so had to stun it and touch the right-hand side, check side, and that was perfectly played.
Yes, it wasn't so long back. He just went past another milestone. He went over the 600 century barrier. And not only is he one of the game's greatest match players, he's also one of the game's greatest break builders. And that's what makes him so difficult to beat. Such a competitor,
28.
such a scorer, and a brilliant all-round game.
Yeah, he never ever
29.
plays the wrong shot, hardly ever when he's in the balls. Even the start of this break, a lot of players, first frame of a match like this, may not have gone into the bunch. There's a couple of loose reds they could have played for, but straight into them and produced this opportunity. A sign of a top player.
Yeah, and it's the way it should be done, isn't it? Make it easier for yourself. Get those balls in the open. I agree with you. There's quite a few players had been
36.
cherry picking there, taking off the odd red. But John Higgins knew that was a great chance to split the balls up, and he's getting his reward.
37. $43. $44.
It's a cue action that hasn't changed much over the years. I know John said a few months back he thought he'd found something playing in one of the tournaments abroad. I think it was in a team competition. He said to Stephen Maguire he found his
51.
what's been missing from his game. His cue action has not really changed much over the years, but whatever it was, that minor tweak has made a lot of difference to him. He's full of confidence again.
Yeah, it's very repetitive, his cue action. 99% of the shots, it's just 2 or 3 waggles and then hit. More difficult shot obviously gives it a bit more. But if you watch his address to the black here, it's just 1 or 2 long waggles, then a short one, then hit.
52.
Just caught the near jaw over there, but there was enough of the pocket for the red to drop in. There's the cue action we're talking about. Top class. If you want to copy one, it's not a bad one to copy. Probably have to go up the table now. I don't think he'll take a chance on playing the cannon with those 2 reds behind the pink. And already absolutely perfect. You've got the table there for perfection.
67.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I'm sure Liang Wenbo thought it was going to be a tough match today, but he certainly found out quickly in this first frame. He had first opportunity. And I'm afraid at the Masters, when it's the best players in the world, it's a tough school. You've got to take your chances. And you say, hit it well enough. Just got that left-hand side jaw. Look at this for a shot.
Yes, lovely little cannon. And I mentioned early on in the frame that could Liang Wenbo put down a marker? Well, John Higgins certainly has. Play well or you'll be going home, Liang.
74.
That's what he's telling him. And this has been hugely impressive from Higgins. Just gone into the cue ball a little bit too much there. He's like trying to leave that for
81.
the middle pocket, but he's already well past the winning post in the first frame here. Nice to make a century though. Never in doubt.
82.
Yep, he seems to have his belief back in his game. Well, if he's going to make a century, he's going to need
87.
some pot here.
Oh, goodness me.
88.
You start knocking those in. What a shot that was. Very ominous signs already for his opponent. That was a beautiful pot. Watch this. Never touched the sides.
92. $94. $97.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
101.
Cue ball on a string, wonderfully controlled. And he's had the pace of the table right from ball 1 in this break. It's been exceptional. He's looking right back to his best.
$112.
Just this black for a break of 119, and you can't start much better than that. Superb, John Higgins. Wonderful clearance. Liang Wenbo was in first. He missed the red with the rest, and he's had to sit in his chair and watch for the rest of the frame. And it's the Wizard of Wishaw who takes the opening frame, and he leads 1-0.
He's got a red to the left-hand corner pocket. It's quite a comfortable shot because of a nice angle to get round the back of the black and back up to the bulk end. So top players would expect to get this 7 out of 10. Good shot. Played confidently, played at a pace to try and stop the cue ball on the colour, but it's just going to run too far. He's still on the yellow. If the reddies line up now, he can play off the right-hand side cushion. But it's quite tricky to judge the pace of this.
Yes, the pot itself is not totally straightforward, and then to judge the pace off the cushion, you can easily run away the cue ball here. And I think that's what's happened. Yeah, it was a lot tougher shot than it looked. It was a difficult pot that. And if the cue ball just runs that little bit, you end up snookered, which is what happened there. Good attempt.
Thank you. Liang Wenbo, 3.
Referee Olivia Martil just checking up where the cue ball is in case there's a miss here. This gives him a better indication. I was just wondering whether he could have sneaked past the blue to hit the side of the pack there, John, but it's obviously too tight, so the outside red will be the shot.
Not the best, again. Red to the left centre. It depends. Well, he's refusing it, so that tells me maybe the cue ball's maybe going towards the green pocket. But still a little bit surprised he's not playing the red on. It's onto the middle. Maybe that break of John Higgins is in the first frame has made him a bit wary of taking dodgy shots on. You won't see many of them. John Higgins, probably, if not the best, but certainly in the top 2 or 3 in the game at safety, and it was a complete misjudgment. That was a good shot.
A little bit of pressure on that, good cueing, and just enough on the cue ball to run through past the reds. And a nice side of the table for a left-hander to play the black from. So, one good positional shot here. It could be a decent chance. Well, I think he's on it. Cue ball has just pulled up in time.
8.
So it is a very good chance. Pots this, comes through for the black. Little cannon on the red that's to the left of the cue ball now, and those two would be ideal. Well, in fact, he's playing a screw back, so the other red goes as well at the bottom.
9.
Well, how people see their breaks being made, I'll see it slightly differently.
$16.
If this was a boxing match, it's important for Wenbo to get a counter punch in here after that first frame. As much for your own confidence as to send the message to your opponent that when I get in, I'm going to win the frame in one visit as well.
Yeah, and these are lovely now. A couple of screw backs, and that cannon in particular into those reds I was mentioning earlier. has opened this up into an excellent chance. And one thing he can do, Liang Wenbo, above anything, is score. Played in a qualifier a few years ago. I was at Pontins there playing in a qualifier, and I walked in and he said, "You can't believe what he's just done." He said 3 centuries and 90 and a maximum in a 5-0 win.
25.
Incredible scoring.
$32. $33.
Looks pretty calm and composed there. I think there was times in the UK where towards the end of the tournament he looked, well, anything but calm and composed. He was sweating, he was slapping his face, banging the table. But he looks pretty focused out there at the moment.
Yeah, and you may be very right there with Stephen, what you said early on. It may be a case of, you know, he's got a terrible record with John Higgins. He may just relax and go and play snooker. Think, well, you know, my record's poor, it can only get better. Just relax and play 41. And see what happens. It's worked before.
Don't think he played to finish this side of the blue, but the red passes the green, so no problem.
$46. $47.
Play off the yellow now and screw down the left-hand side of the table as we look at it, because there's at least 3 reds that go there. Could screw straight down or off the cushion, whatever he chooses. Always when you're making these breaks, try and leave yourself in areas where you've got options. So he played down 49. There. There's at least 2 that were going to be good for him. And this is an impressive riposte.
50.
Play the little cannon into the red and pink here. Doesn't have to, of course. He could play past it, but it's on.
$57.
If it carries on like this, we're in for a cracker. Both players looking in great form. Could see 3, 4, even maybe 5 centuries in this match 65. If both players continue like this. This is very high quality break building.
66.
Both breaks. John's in the first frame in this one. Both players have had the cue ball on a string.
$72.
Yes, it would appear that there's nothing like 73. Winning a few matches and doing well in a tournament to build your confidence up. I mentioned earlier he was sort of just ticking along in tournaments without doing anything special, Liang, but reaching that UK final, playing as well as he did, has obviously built up his confidence levels. Excellent shot there.
80.
And can we have back-to-back centuries to start this match?
81.
That red on the side cushion isn't too bad for him, of course, being left-handed. Gets in behind that, he can drop it down the cushion.
$88.
Could have done with another couple of inches on the cue ball there, just to get behind it with his own cue, not having to use the extension. But one of those that if you pot this, the cue ball is going to go to a perfect angle for the next colour. It's not there. But what a fantastic response from Liang Wenbo. John Higgins knows he's in a match now. And Liang Wenbo, with a brilliant break, levels at 1-1. Sure that if you're going to pot this, you just stagger the cue ball through past that red on the right that's blocking the black. So this is not straightforward, this shot. Good pot. And there you go, you see, just that little bit of extra run through required after he stunned it made that more difficult. Priority was the pot, of course, but this black coming up is massive. Plenty of pressure on this.
Yeah, that was in a different way just as difficult as the red, as you say, John. He's leaving everything on there. Should have missed that black. But very confidently.
Nine.
No. A great chance. You couldn't have the reds much better for the ultimate prize, John. Maybe a bit early to predict.
Gone for an early one of those. I can't believe it. I know it's your birthday.
16.
Just try to leave an angle there just to flick the red away from the other one. And then you've got the whole black area opened up then after the next shot. Lovely little sequence of stunned cannons there he's played.
24.
But he deserves everything he gets. The two shots at the start of this break were excellent.
25.
The opening pot was brilliant, but the second one with the black dead weight, that took plenty of nerve.
$32. 33.
Just let that cue ball run a couple of inches too far, just to make this black missable. Because if you're keeping your eye on the positional side, you can tear off the pot here. No problem. It's just bunch the reds up a bit, having to play that cannon.
40.
Winning the frame is obviously
41.
a priority at 2-1 down, but he will be starting to have thoughts at the back of his mind, because he'll know how well these reds are placed.
$48. 49.
This is going along beautifully so far. He's got a choice of reds. One he can play through the pack, and one he can drop in with the rest on the right hand side. But he's taken these beautifully so far. Yeah, and that little cannon there just
57.
flicked another red out, so the ones in the middle of the table are absolutely lovely. played that in the way, of course. Left himself opportunity of 2
64.
pots, one in the middle or one in the corner. And take it from me, he's after the maximum. He knows full
65.
well that it's on.
$72.
Just slightly hampered Q-wise here with that red on the side cushion. Yeah, just a little bit awkward.
Yeah, and this will show us his intentions. Yep, we know what he's playing for there.
73.
That was very easy just to follow that red through for the blue there. Cannon on the pink, maybe.
That's all right, through the gap there. Red
80.
with the rest. Perfectly down for the black again. And it's looking like that red on the side
81.
cushion, which has been there since the start of the frame, is going to be the stumbling block. Because at the moment, the ones in the open look like they're going to go. I think he's played that beautifully.
88.
He has. Can screw back for the black, no problem.
$89.
Right, here's an interesting scenario. He's obviously, he could play for the loose red now, the red that's on the left-hand cushion now. If you've got the perfect angle, would you play it, Stephen?
Got to. Because you might never get the chance. Well, this surprises me. You might never get the chance again to drop nicely on it. You could have put that cue ball anywhere on that red there. You've got to pot the red eventually, so a little bit surprised there.
96.
It's still in perfect position on these reds.
$97.
He's not got the angle now to get on the red, and it's just come slightly the wrong side of the black.
I bet he wish he played for that red now.
He's checked the cue ball off the side cushion, and well, we mentioned
104.
it. He probably should have done it 3 shots ago.
Yeah, I think he'd be kicking himself that he was perfect on the black 2 shots ago, just a drop on that red. It's hardly ever I would disagree with a shot John Higgins plays in the balls. Oh, I got a kick.
Unlucky. Great try. You can argue the rights and wrongs of whether he should have played on that loose red, but nevertheless a brilliant century break from John Higgins, and it's 2-2 at the interval. Good try.
5. Liang Wenbo to break.
There's a bit of barman duties going on here, either side. Thanks Thankfully he's better with his cue than he is with the ice cubes. Yes, going back to the quality of the opening session, it was superb. And you put the best 16 players in the world in the melting pot, you're going to get good matches, and well, so far this is looking one of them. The best of the opening round. Both players playing well. Good scoring, good tactical play. And one player just trying to edge ahead.
Thank you.
That red up towards the balk area can make a safety a little bit more difficult, because obviously you need to cover it. That may be a case of just bringing the cue ball back to the top of the table.
Yeah, I think Liang didn't even look. He could have played thin off the left-hand side of the pack there, left the cue ball up around the yellow pocket. Didn't look too difficult to snooker John in the red. That's in that area, but chose to play the more conservative shot.
I think I probably know the answer to this before I ask you, but I don't suppose you like these frames too much, did you?
No, the shot, when you see a player play the shot that John played, I know he didn't have an option, but to bring the red up to the bulk here and the cue ball on this black cushion is never a good start to a frame. You always end up with this kind of nonsense.
Too early to be calling a potential re-rack here, I would think. But we had one the other afternoon. There was 23 minutes played in the frame before we got a re-rack. It was the right decision to make. The balls had gone very awkward. No end in sight, but this hasn't quite taken a re-rack on just yet.
He's looking at that. I think the red. There's a red on just outside the edge of the bunch that goes up to the green pocket, but I think he can play it as a slight shot to nothing. Yep, there it is. And he's got it. Great pot. He was always going to bring the cue ball close to this cushion, so probably was never going to have a nice pot in the black, but good pot.
Yeah, it was one of those ones, wasn't it? It's hard to be totally committed to play round the angles and back for the black, because you think if I missed the pot.
Oh, I showed a nice touch there, John, because those shots I could never play with bottom of the cue ball.
No, it's one you. Well, on these cloths, I suppose they're a little bit easier with them being so quick, but not an easy shot to play. So very tactical at the moment. I suppose Liang could push the red that's in the balk area towards the one he's looking at there. Doesn't have to take the pot on there. He can just push that up and down and leave the cue ball on the bottom cushion if he wants. Or he may take the pot. This will tell us what he's feeling like. Well, I presume it was a pot, but he got it pretty thick. Well, to say the cueing was always going to be difficult there. He had a very simple push up and down on the red if he didn't want to take the pot on.
Well, John's looked at. Yeah, he's played the percentage shot again. He did look at coming off the bunch to bring the cue ball up somewhere around that yellow pocket. Just thought it was too risky.
I'm just wondering whether that's a good shot at all, because the cue ball needed to be tight on the cushion there. I think Liang will have a go at this red that's near the black. It shouldn't have been available, this one. Well, he went for it, and I don't blame him in the slightest, because that was a chance. He just didn't pot it.
One.
Really good cueing that was. It'll be important, and John will know that, to
6.
try and establish a lead in this match. He's seen his opponents hitting the ball very well. Chances like this, you've got to make the most of them. And well, there's 4 reds in the open before he has to do any work in amongst the pack. I mean, I know you didn't fail at many maximum attempts, Stephen, but if you had on the odd occasion done that, would it affect you much for the rest of the game?
No, I think in the fact it was the frame before the interval as well, he's had 15 minutes or so to get it out of his mind. It would just irritate him, I think, while he was on the break. Now John's too experienced, he'll have forgotten about it now, and he's made 2 centres already, so these are the type of openings. Again, he'll be looking to win the frame at this visit.
13.
Yes, took the opportunity there just to develop a few reds, thinking that when he screwed back off the pack he'd leave the one in the middle, but just slightly overscrewed it. And whilst I'd expect him to pot this, it's always a little tricky when the balls are close together. It's difficult to work the angle out sometimes. That's why John's having a look down the line of the shot there. He's not an absolute gimme, these sorts of shots.
21.
Well played. Didn't do much with the cue ball. It was all about the pot. He's got a natural angle just to drop this blue in, and cue ball near the top cushion for the loose red to the right of the black.
.26.
Possibly the angle, if he was playing it hard, he was frightened of the enough, but bit of work to be done here for position. May have an angle to come back down for the black even here. And he's played it with the more guaranteed positional shot.
27.
Yeah, I think with that red being in the balk area, that was also an insurance policy if he didn't quite get on the blue properly. He still choose to play for it, but
Yellow ball.
obviously that red that's currently on the pink spot or occupying most of it is the one that's available.
29.
And he's hit that beautifully, that yellow. Couldn't have played that any better. And for scrapping round for position for a few
30.
shots, he's got the cue ball back on a string. It wasn't straightforward for a few shots there. It's high quality stuff at the moment and tough to play against.
37.
Yeah, I'd have to say when he's in the balls, he just doesn't look like missing.
38. $45. 46.
Probably have to play a cannon into the 4 reds here. He's just played, there's just a little red that goes at the bottom of the 4. And this will open up the other 3.
53. 54.
Cue ball control immaculate here.
61.
And you don't need to miss too much in this school. It really is one visit
62.
stuff at the moment for these players when they're in. That's the level they're playing at.
Yeah, John's just never having to play a difficult shot when he's in. His positional play has been so, well, how he's found that gap. He could play that shot again 100 times. He won't go through that gap.
67.
Yeah, amazing, isn't it? Any flick on the pink, flick on the red, he was going to be okay. All right, he's 66 points ahead. And only 59 on, but he'd like to have got this frame out the way. He might just have to just roll onto the back of this red, because there's not too many safety shots. He just rolls up to the back of it, that'll do for the time being. Doesn't have to play the plant, of course. But then again, if you can do that, why not? That's the shot that was. Superb stuff at the minute.
Slight grimace there. It's obviously finished dead straight in this red. So I'll probably just have to stun it in and leave the brown to the left centre.
Thank you. 74. 75.
'It's not there, but what a fabulous break of 75 from John Higgins. Beautifully constructed and just what he needed to re-establish himself in this match. And he takes a 3-frames-to-2 lead.
And this time, that shot that we've been mentioning, that safety shot, leaving the cue ball on the black cushion, I don't think it's on now. Decent break off there from John Higgins.
Yeah, and a feature of this match as well, but it's been free flowing and open. The boys have been able to score because the black haven't been tied up. There's 1 or 2 people break off, and every time they break off it seems to tie up the black. But it hasn't happened today so far, so they've been able to score.
Well, in the end he has played the shot, but where's this red going? Is it going to go past the middle? Just. Don't think it's potable. Just be playing the red off the jaw of the pocket, leave the cue ball in the bulk area.
Yeah, it was about as good as he could do that, because it was nearly past the jaw, that red, wasn't it? So couldn't get it right in to get it back towards the pink. All the time when you play against John, there's pressure on your safety play as well, because you just know his is going to be so good. Very difficult to outfox him. I don't think that's a particularly good shot. He'd be lucky to get past the brown with the cue ball there. A little bit too thick. That's what John Higgins is looking at, which is taking a bit of time to think out his safety shot. Probably just a bit of check side and up and down. Always trying to make sure you get the cue ball as tight as possible to that ball cushion, because you could knock a red out towards the corner. And John thinks he's left him a little bit of a chance. Tough pot this though. And he cued that beautifully. He really did. Straight into the heart of the pocket. Excellent. There you go, 9 foot 10. And cued right through the middle. Great shot.
9.
If Liang can get a half
16.
ball angle on the black, that red that's over the centre pocket is a massive insurance policy. You can get on there, split the pack up. If you don't land on one that you've split up, you've got the one over the centre pocket. So I'd be very tempted to just try and get that half ball on the black as soon as possible, get the pack open. And if it doesn't go right, you've still got that red.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's always very important, I feel, to when you go into the bunch, go into them when there's still a couple of loose reds, because then you have that insurance that you're talking about, John. So I think it's always wrong to play all the loose reds first.
Couldn't agree with you more.
Didn't go into them with as much conviction as I thought he might there.
24.
Played at quite a slow pace. That could have gone wrong if he got a thick contact on the pack.
He's taken that red we mentioned, so it did come in handy after all.
25.
And he's just one good positional shot away from having an excellent chance here, Liang.
Green ball.
Might be okay, but one thing he didn't want to be is hampered by the blue. I think he should be able to cue it okay. Yeah, just about. The best bit of cueing I've seen. Had a little flick at that one. Maybe he was just worried about his follow through there. Sometimes it's the cue going through the bridge hand that could move the blue, so a little bit flicky compared to what else he's done today. His cueing's been very good.
Yeah, he's played for a gap there, the red to the right of the pink. He's played to go through the gap 36. And finish on that one to the right corner. In practice, he'd have gone into the bunch there at pace. So perhaps, as I said before, just trying to pick off the loose reds first, a little bit negative.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, the shot earlier in the frame where he had the half ball into the pack, I mean, you had to hit them harder and thicker, and, well, the balls would have been everywhere, but he didn't do it, so 36-point lead is what he's left with.
Well, he's looking at this red up to the far right hand corner. I think he's thinking the cue ball's going to go through the gap. Ah, great pot. I think that was a kind of shot to nothing. He felt that was the only red he was going to leave, as long as he made the gap between the red and the pack.
Yeah, great pot, wasn't it? Good cueing again. Fabulous. Good pot of the tone right, that one. He's just finished on the yellow here. I don't know whether he can avoid the cannon on the brown. If he can, it's a good chance. Yeah, always looked like being a little bit of a problem, didn't it, if you got a flick off the brown there. It's going to take the pace out of the cue ball. Very often you hit 3 ball colours in one shot, but he did there. Great recovery.
4.
Tough these.
Play for a choice of 2 reds here. The red at the bottom of the bunch to the left corner, or shouldn't go too far. You've got a red to the left centre, and that's nicely played. And one good positional shot in the black. And you think he has to win this 6th frame.
He seems a lot more in control of his emotions today. At the UK Championship you mentioned earlier, he was, say, doing a few histrionics, patting himself on the head to make himself concentrate a bit more, things like that. But today seems to be in total control of everything. He's playing very well, but more importantly in control of himself.
I think he's definitely a big occasion player. He enjoys the big occasions, but I do think he's much more comfortable when he's not expected to win. He's the underdog. I think he relaxes a bit more.
Yeah, so I suppose what we're saying is it might be interesting when it gets near the winning post what happens here. But it's a fair way away at the moment at 3 frames to 2, so all to be revealed.
24.
And that's a good shot. And that really should be the frame winner. Little stun off the black, bottom red pots. Should be 3 apiece.
Yeah, and this is all the more impressive. And you mentioned before, John, it's 7 for 0 against John Higgins.
32.
When the draw came out, he couldn't have been happy when he seen he was paired with John Higgins, having lost 7 times in a row to him.
Yeah, I think he might have picked a few other people, mightn't he? Well played, great shot.
39. 40.
And when you see him playing like this, you think to yourself, where have you been?
46. 47.
A few seasons ago, I was in the commentary box and he played in the match, and I thought he could be the next big thing. He was that good. And then for a few seasons, he's been moderate by his own standards. And you see him play like this, he is a top player.
53. 54.
Played to go around the back of that red, but the way he's going at the moment, I wouldn't put it past him to knock this in. And that opening red was an absolute cracker for this break. No, it's not there this time. But nevertheless, Liang Wenbo with an excellent 61 break. And levels the match. And what a game we've got with 3 frames all.
7. Liang Wenbo to break.
The scoring today's been fabulous from both players. Really has. John Higgins 119, 104 and 75. And Liang made a brilliant 88 in the second frame. A very important 42 and then 36 and 61 in the last. So there's the highest breaks, but it's been really good stuff. And Liang's long potting has just been superb. It's currently at 100%. See if he can keep it up here. He sure can. I've not seen him play this well, I have to be honest. I always thought he was a top-class player, but this is as good as I've seen him play. He's playing better here than he did at the UK.
Well, that shot was as bad as the first one was good.
It's the first one I've seen him have a bit of body movement on. He played that a little bit like he was playing the shots at the UK, with a little bit anxious, and that's the first one, because for a top class player like him to lose position there is pretty poor. Mind you, the way he's potted today, it might not be end of break.
Yep, that's just
Liang
the
Wenbo,
pure
8.
frustration of how bad the shot previously was. Just was not concentrating on that pot at all there. You can see it in his face. We haven't seen a lot of reaction from him today, but that's the first time. Very poor shot on the black.
Yeah, the worst thing about that is he'll sit there in his chair stewing in it now, because he'll know full well if he was in the club he could never play a shot that bad all day. It was as if he'd played such a good shot the one before, he forgot to concentrate on the second one. I mean, there's just so many options there from that position there, but to do that, well, very poor.
7.
And the one thing you know, when you play John Higgins, he isn't going to let you off the hook if you make mistakes like that. He knows how much those situations hurt, and he'll try and make maximum opportunity out of your misfortune.
14.
He'll be feeling the worst there, Liang.
Yeah, he'll be laying up in his chair thinking it's 4-3. Especially the way John scored when he's been in the balls today. I'll be shocked if it's not 4-3 after this visit.
22.
Yeah, so I always thought he was the toughest player to play on the circuit. When I was playing, I thought you were in for an afternoon of tough match play. Someone who scored brilliantly and someone who always played the right shot, which is why that maximum attempt before was a little strange, as we mentioned.
30.
Nice little cannon he's just played there, just to split the reds up all the time, just moving a couple of reds out here and there, making the break easier.
31.
Yeah, she got nothing easy against John Higgins. Beautiful little cannon that was. Just made a massive difference to that break.
38.
Opened up a couple more reds.
39.
Red just below the pink spot is
46.
ideal. Pop that run through. He'll open up. Well, it's come dead straight. He doesn't need to worry about flicking off the pink.
47.
This is brilliant stuff.
$54. $55.
Screwed back with a little bit of reverse side there just to widen the angle. And I don't know whether
62.
he's on that outside red. Watch the side zip off the cushion there, take it up.
Yeah, didn't quite pot the black in the middle of the pocket. That's why he's had a slight panic, but
63.
it's over now. You'd have to say odds on his third century of the match.
68.
And he's just scoring.
69.
Positional play is just so good. I honestly thought I wouldn't see him play like this again. Season or so ago, he was a shadow, but he's turned it around in no uncertain terms, and we mentioned earlier 3 times in the calendar year a winner. One in Wales and Australia, then the International Open. He's just playing some great stuff.
Thank you.
And his cue ball control in this
75.
has been absolutely superb.
$82. Thanks. 83.
Left himself a tough black here from tight on the cushion, but obviously the frame's won, so that takes that pressure off. But just a matter of potting the black, is automatically going to be in the red to the right corner. And the bonus is finished low in the red, so just be able to nudge
90.
that red away from the pink.
$91.
So,
98.
2 pots away from century number 3 today for John Higgins.
99.
And the perfect angle, drop the black in, up for the yellow, and no reason why it won't be the total clearance. There's the wonderful trophy,
106.
Waterwood Crystal that we're playing for this week.
108.
And if he keeps playing like this, it might be his. Who knows?
$111. Thank you.
It was a sign of a player at the top of the game. John
115.
was a little bit disappointed he didn't hit that green as well as he wanted. The frame's over.
120.
Yeah, sets himself very high standards. And he's definitely maintaining them today. Brilliant stuff.
126.
This for 133 and his 3rd century of the match. Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant, John Higgins. A wonderful break. Liang Wenbo lost position, and that was enough to sit down and watch the rest of the frame. And it's the Scot John Higgins who now leads 4 frames to 3. This will be interesting frame, this, from Liang Wenbo's point of view. He'd be kicking himself while that break was being made, because he was first in at an excellent opportunity. Lost position that he would never do if he was practicing in the club. And consequently failed long red, and he had to sit and watch. But it was his chance first. So can he put that behind him? Oh, there's a collector's item. John Higgins hitting the ball colour with a safety shot like that. I didn't see that one coming. Not easy, of course, the shot that he's been left, Liang, but I bet he's amazed himself. He's actually got a pot of the red here.
Yeah, cued that nicely. You see, kept very still on that shot.
Blue ball.
So, already is this
6.
match going to follow the pattern so far that John Higgins gets that frame ahead and Liang Wenbo comes straight back? Obviously a lot of snooker to be played in this frame before that's obvious.
7.
It's happened so far this afternoon.
That wasn't the cleanest of pots. Played for the blue. Put the red into the left hand side of the pocket. That's why he's not perfect now. You see a slight bit of movement there. That wasn't the cleanest of cue actions. You could see his back elbow going behind his head.
$13.
Yeah, he'll have to make some sort of contact on the red that's to the left of the black, because once he pots the black here, I think he's going to be tied up. May possibly still go to the right corner. Yeah, if the red goes past the black, that's a lovely shot. Held that nicely.
Sure did. That was a beauty. I was
20.
thinking like you, he had a lot of angle on that. He do well to hold it, but couldn't have played that any better.
$21.
And they're looking nice now. Two bottom reds on that cluster are definitely going to pot. So he's turned this into a decent chance, Liang.
Well, that wasn't
28.
the best positional shot. And if he's straight enough to be able to go through the black, he's playing with topspin, so obviously is. But again, could have a couple inches on the cue ball there.
29.
That was all caused by a similar shot to the last frame, just not hitting it strong enough in the black. Careless.
Liang Wenbo, 29.
Yeah, he'll be kicking himself there. Goodness me, he was in perfect position 2 shots ago. And with those 2 reds available at the bottom of the pack, I didn't think he was going to fall down there. This one had to be hit a lot firmer. You knew you were going to contact them pretty thick, so more topspin required. So 1 or 2 signs of Liang feeling the pinch. John's just going to be wary of leaving there. He's just looking to see if there's a 3-ball plant, and it's pretty close. He's going to play off the red on the side cushion and safety. He wants to make sure he covers that up. Which he's done.
Yeah, it's okay. Would have liked to have covered the left-hand side of the pack here. Yeah, he's got a comfortable safety shot. If John had got the cue ball in behind the yellow, he would have had Liang in all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, he was a bit weak with the cue ball there, Liang, but it's one of those ones where sometimes there's a bit more trouble being shorter than right down to the baulk cushion, because John's got to play this with a little bit of check side here. And missed the bump on the middle pocket, which he's done. Good shot. Obviously, with the brown being off its spot as well, that's one less ball that you can hide the cue ball behind. So yellow and green are down there, but not always the biggest targets. Quite a clever shot, that. Shot to nothing there. Yeah, taps the table there, Liang. It's quite a good shot John's played. He's covered the right-hand side of the pack with the blue. The brown is covering the left-hand red. And the one that he can see directly in a line with the cue ball, you can't play off that to get back down to the baulk area. He'll get a cannon on the left-hand red. Got to get this very thin. There's the dreaded cannon. If you didn't get that wafer thin, you were in trouble. Although at first look, he's been quite fortunate to leave it where he has, Liang. Could have left him a lot easier than this.
Not sure if the path of the cue, he has to bridge over the pink here. If he doesn't, it's quite a comfortable shot to play off two cushions for the black to the right corner. Or could play the pink to the same pocket. You can play in an area with a choice of 2 or 3 colours here.
Yeah, it's just sometimes that rest and being close to the sometimes can be a distraction. You have to make sure you concentrate fully on the shot you're playing. Well negotiated. Could have had a better kiss, I suppose.
Well.
Yeah, just lost the cue ball a little bit there.
Just wondering whether he can get to the green. Might be a shot for him. Around the angles and back for the reds, but where he's finished is pretty awkward for everything. If there was a red obviously at the back of the cluster that was alright, he'd just get down and stun the black in for it, but there isn't.
John Higgins, 1. Thank you.
Good pot from Liang. Unlucky with that cannon, but it does have a chance to put John in a fair bit of trouble here. Just looking to see with his cue whether, around about there I would think was the worst for John to reply.
Green ball. Liang Wenbo 1.
I think it's pretty comfortable to have 2 cushions into the back of this bunch of 5 reds. Just about getting the pace right. Looks like there's a fair margin for error not to leave anything.
Chance to get up back behind the yellow if Liang wants it. He's just looking at the angle of the plant there, because the ready contacts, the other one will go onto the pink, so it shouldn't run up the table. Let it run inside and up behind the yellow again. Just slightly overhit it. So here's a 29-point lead, Liang, in this frame, but that's certainly not insurmountable in this frame of snooker, especially when you're playing John Higgins in the scoring form he's been today. Well, he didn't play it like that, and if he's got away with it, he's been very fortunate. And I don't think he has. There's a gap through the middle there. Poor shot by John Standard, that.
Yeah, it's not very often you say them. His safety play's been the worst aspect of his game today.
Yeah, 82%. It's usually a lot higher than that for John.
Six. Seven.
Yeah, played down specifically to pink there, because you can just hopefully drop this in, and then the red that's below the pink spot is available, and when that gets potted, it'll open up the other corner for another red. So great chance to ensure that this match continues in the same pattern. John Higgins going 1 ahead, and Liang Wenbo pegging him back.
14.
Yeah, there'll be just a tiny bit of frustration in John Higgins at the moment. He's played so well, he's looked as good as anybody in the balls, and yet it looks like it's going to be 4-4.
21.
Normally when you play as well and score as heavy as John has been in this match, you expect to be well ahead. So every credit to Liang Wenbo for keeping his focus on this match.
Well, That cannon went wrong.
27.
Just tried to flick it out a little bit, but stuck on the other one. So 56 ahead with 59 remaining. So not over the line, and you're never really comfortable when you're playing against John Higgins, even though, looking at where the balls are, black's obviously out of commission on the right hand side cushion. You'd still fancy Liang winning this frame,
27.
but John Higgins thought that might have been a push. He asked the referee. I think he may have a case, by the way.
Yeah, that tip seemed to strike the cue ball twice there on that shot that we just seen. Difficult to judge from a distance.
And John will absolutely love that shot because he's flicked the black back into play. Okay, Liang's got a chance at this red, but if he doesn't make it, black is definitely in play for John Higgins again. Well, brilliant pot. It didn't work out in John's favour. That was a fabulous shot from Liang.
1. Green ball. Liang Wenbo 1.
And a great long pot from Liang. And John Higgins nods his head. That's enough for him. And Liang Wenbo does indeed peg John Higgins back again. And we're all square. It's 4-4. We can show you this as John comes to the table. Yeah. Well, just before that, he looked at the referee and actually queried it, and he was shaking his head a little bit. Didn't think it was the right call, but anyway, as I say, it didn't make that much of a difference.
Effectively a best of 3 now. See who gets in the next round. Another good long pot. The standard long pot in today has been excellent from both players. Normally we say 65–70% is pretty good, but both players over 80, that's excellent.
And that was a much better shot than it looked. Beautifully controlled. Found the angles in between the both colours. What you don't want to do is hit one of those with that shot. Just past the brown. And perfect. It's not a bad chance, this. Okay, there's 3 or 4 reds available, but stuns this in. There's a few points coming his way.
Thank you. 7.
Every time in the match so far when John's had first
14.
chance in a frame, he's made it pay.
$15.
The red at the bottom of the bunch will go to the same pocket. Just a little screw shot. Just deliberately leaving it low on this red, so it's going to be going into the bunch. It's got lots of top spin on this.
I'm going to say to you, which way would you play this? Would you always favour the top spin? Perfect.
23.
Yeah, sometimes you have a choice with those, but it comes with experience looking at the pack, the way the reds are, whether it's a top spin through the pack or the screw back. And then it was the top spin. Almost stops and then takes off again.
Sure.
That didn't look like the best contact. I'm not surprised he's having that cue ball cleaned.
Well, after this red spotted at first glance, it doesn't look like there's much else goes, so good angle on the blue required. Or he could play up for a baulk colour. I mean, a nice angle, half ball on the green would be ideal to go into the bunch. If he goes into the pack off the pink, there's a bit of a gap there between the pink and red, so he has played for the blue.
31.
It looks to be too straight to go into them directly.
Yeah, I just wonder if he played there to try and get in that gap between the pink and the red on the right, just go in through there and hope you get something from that. And that'll do. Absolutely perfect.
36.
Just played in there. Had a little flick that time off the pink, but the way that's come out, he must have been delighted to see that.
37.
This is really top class stuff. Got an opportunity now to play a little cannon on those three reds in the cluster, a little triangle. If he plays off that one there, little screw shot, he'll be on the loose red on the right. That's the one. Didn't quite get enough screw on that. I'd like to have
44.
got into that and just come back a couple of inches. So it's just gone slightly wrong, that cannon.
Yeah, and both the reds that he's on, one to the left centre, one to the right corner, they're just off straight, so that's why he's taking the more difficult one.
Great recovery, and that should be the shot that wins him the frame. Balls are beautifully spread now, and the way he scored this afternoon,
50.
you'd have to be thinking for all the world it was 5-4 to John Higgins.
51.
Absolutely superb cue ball control all afternoon. Heavy duty scoring, and by far the best match of the tournament.
57.
Yeah, it's strange the frames he's losing are the ones where there's safety involved and they're a bit scrappy.
58.
So say whenever John gets in first in a frame, it's been game over.
$65. $66.
Well, when I said at the start of the match there could be 3 or 4 centuries in this match, I wasn't expecting them all to come from the same player. But that's what it looks like could happen.
Just a wonderful player.
71.
Such a high standard today, this match. Quality of the break building and the scoring, absolutely exemplary.
72.
And yes, the way he's playing, no reason why he won't go on and make another century. Incredible stuff.
$77. $78. $85.
Well, an unusual miss, but he won't be too bothered about that. The break of 85 has re-established himself, and it's John Higgins who wins it and goes 5-4 ahead. It's been a wonderful afternoon's display of top-class break building. See what the boys were saying about yesterday's match with Mark Williams and Ronnie O'Sullivan was very exciting, going down to the final frame. But well, every match has a different story, doesn't it? Oh, can he cut that in the middle pocket? It'll be pretty thin if he can.
Yep, he's taking it on. Never guaranteed where the cue ball is going to finish. But he will settle for that.
One.
Yeah, every day of the week and twice on Sunday. What a kiss that was. Good pot, as you rightly said. No idea where the cue ball was going to finish, but oh, it's even got a beautiful angle down towards the red.
Three. Obviously,
a long way to go in the rest of this frame. But it's nice to get the first chance.
Four.
Slightly overscrewed that one.
This is a testament to how good his cue ball's been today that we thought that was a loose shot. He was still on the pink, but he's not out of trouble yet. So often you play one bad positional shot, you follow it with another.
10.
So, well, the good thing about that, the pink's gone up to the green spot, so we can get an angle in the blue here. And a huge target to go into the bunch of reds. And this looks absolutely perfect. If he picked a cue ball up and placed it with his hand, he couldn't be any better.
Well, a little bit of luck required. One good split. And that is just one good split. Wow.
16.
He's hit that beautifully with great control, and they could not have come any better. Opened up like a bunch of flowers.
Well, if we're going on the match so far, you think the match is over. Because as I said a few times,
17.
whenever he's got in first visit, he's won the frame, but obviously getting over the line is the difficult frame to win. But the way these reds have opened up, he'd be very disappointed not to win the match at this visit.
Yes, and aside from all his
24.
wonderful qualities there, you can see the match time of 2 hours and 16 minutes. So all his wonderful qualities. Another one to add to the list is finishing off matches.
25.
He's always been particularly adept at that. Give him a sniff of the winning line and he usually runs straight across it. Just slightly lost the cue ball there. Just going to come round and come off 2 angles maybe. Just wondering whether he can miss that cannon with the red that's on the top cushion. That's the only problem. He can run through and miss that red. It's all right. Well, he couldn't, but just that little flick on the red has just taken the cue ball slightly awry. No problem with the pot, of course, but then he's got to go through. Can he get through that gap between the 5 reds? Or can he flick off 1? Got a monster kick. An absolute 32. Monster. Can you believe it?
Yes, this was practically game over if he gets in the black here. Now you see the red jump off the table.
Yeah, that's the view that Liang has, but he's played a nice shot there for those 2 reds on the right hand side. Couldn't
6.
hit that any better.
Seven.
He must have been fearing the worst when he's sitting in his chair watching John Higgins go about that break, but well, sometimes you need a little bit of luck, and that was it with his opponent getting that horrendous kick. There you go. Just
40.
Jumps in the air, takes the object ball wide, hits the jaw, and left the chance for Liang.
15.
But we're right near the business end of this match, and there's a lot more pressure around now than there was at just before the mid-session interval or just after it. You're coming near the winning post here. Took that opportunity just to flick those 3 reds because they were in a line and none of them were potable, so played a stun up and kept himself on the back red. So good thinking there.
23.
Now finishes a slightly awkward angle in the yellow. If the pink's straight, then it's just a matter of good cueing and screw the cue ball back in a straight line for the red to the right corner. Not as easy with the rest though. Watch this left middle pocket. Oh, he hit that good. Hit that very well.
Sure did. Absolutely pured that one. Loads of work on the cue ball. Oh, he couldn't have put that any better. So right the way through this match,
30.
John's gone ahead. Liang's pegged him back. Is he going to do it again and put us into a final frame decider?
$37. 38.
He's going to need one of the tricky reds if he's going to win the frame at this visit. So I would say the obvious one is the one behind
44.
the black.
45.
Not the best angle in the black here. You have to play the red to the right centre when it's next to the pink.
Yeah, interesting
52.
to see how he goes about getting position. Just checking up now. Sometimes you can't think straight and add up. You get in these situations, but he'll know red colour and red should give him the frame. Oh,
53.
well, there's an interesting shot he's played. I thought he might have just stunned and left the pink in the middle. Come back for that red, but it's much more difficult now, this long pink.
Liang Wenbo, 53.
No, I didn't quite play it with 100% conviction. See where the cue ball ended up. He wasn't on the red. Chance for John to play a really good safety here. If he can get the red somewhere in the middle of the table and the cue ball in behind the brown. Not his best. This red goes to the right corner.
Yeah, nearly had Liang in trouble there. The roll on the cue ball was going to be serious trouble, but the way his long potting's been today, Liang, you wouldn't put it past him knocking this in.
Well, here's a tester. He'll be taking this on. Guaranteed to be on the black. Brilliant. And he's made just to follow the cue ball through a little bit to be able to get on that last red.
Goodness me, what a bit of cueing that was. Right down the line. Brilliant shot. I don't think you could ever get on the red there the way he played it, but you can certainly be in the driving seat here. We see this opening red again. Look at the cueing on this. Beautiful.
Maybe try and take the green off the cushion here. Great shot. Oh, he's just... You see John raising his hand there. He's played that to take the green off the side cushion, but he's put it on the baulk cushion now. But he's got the upper hand in this frame again.
Oh, there's a swerve coming up. He may very well get away with that. Yeah. John was quickly out of his seat there, but I don't think he can pot this.
If he can bring the red up and down and put the cue ball in behind the pink here. Wow. I don't think that was cutting from our view.
It's amazing. I didn't think that was on at all. And no prizes for guessing where he'll be after this one.
John Higgins, 1.
Wow, that was something cut. Doesn't want to go in off.
Foul and a miss. John Higgins, 4.
No hesitation from John. Putting him straight back into bat again.
I'm a bit surprised he didn't even look at the pot in the yellow there, because it was natural to get onto the green. But I suppose he's every chance of get an easier chance here, but I mean, Liang could get away with this.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah, as ever with snookers, not just hitting them. Can you get it safe? Won't be too disappointed, I wouldn't think, although if John decided to take the yellow up into what we call the green pocket, it is a natural angle to take the cue ball up towards the green. So top spin. No. There's a chance. Well, it's not a snooker, but the problem here for John is he's got to make sure he doesn't contact the blue. That's why he played it firmer with a little bit of side. It's a great pot. I think he's come absolutely bolt straight on the green. Nothing you can do with this other than drop it in and stand for a very tough brown. Oh, but you can't miss the green.
Liang Wenbo, 2.
Oh, I don't know whether Liang's saying he thinks it rolled out. What a chance for John Higgins.
3.
Well, he's got a tough clearance here. Needs an angle in the blue to get back up for the pink, and then an angle in the pink to get back for the black.
7.
Oh, in fact, he doesn't need the black, so one good shot here.
Yes, and he's come a lovely angle, I think. A nice screw back here. Yeah, just off straight. Perfect. Screw right back onto the ball cushion. And he's hit it beautifully. What a match this has been. It's had a little bit of everything, but more importantly, it's had wonderful scoring all afternoon. And John Higgins has finally got over the line. What a fantastic game of snooker that was this afternoon. Brilliant scoring and a major result for John Higgins. You can see how delighted he is. Liang Wenbo, you played fantastically well. We'll see more of you, my friend. But it's John Higgins who got through, and he wins 6 frames to 4 in a classic.
So many congratulations to John Higgins. What a fantastic match. He will now play the current Crucible champion Stuart Bingham on Friday evening. That's it from us for now, but we're back at 1 o'clock on BBC Two. And stand by, what a cracker we have in store for you. Ronnie O'Sullivan taking on Mark Selby. Well, here. Bye for now.